Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat pranams to all of you. Thank you all very much for joining in for our Bhagavad Gita study session. Today we are continuing from 15.12. Let's start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahamadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Taralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamam Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramanandavadavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyameshwaram Hari Om Tatsad. Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, thank you all very much. We're continuing with our Bhagavad Gita study from yesterday. Today is a very auspicious day. Yesterday was also a very auspicious day. Yesterday was Balaram Purnima. I hope everyone chanted extra rounds and spent the entire day being, always remembering Krishna Balaram sang bhajans and studied Bhagavad Gita, studied Bhagavatam, etc. for the pleasure of Balaram, right? So in this way, we discussed yesterday how Balaram is Adi Guru. He is the supreme personality of Servitor Godhead. He teaches us how to please Lord Shri Krishna, right? It is only by the mercy of Balaram that we are able to engage ourselves in the service of Krishna. And today is the most auspicious day of Srila Prabhupada departing to the United States of America. It is only because of Srila Prabhupada's sacrifice that he left at the age of 69. When most people go to, take rest, they generally go to Vrindavan Dham, have a peaceful life sitting under the trees of Vrindavan. At that time, Srila Prabhupada took Vrindavan to the Western world, told them who is Krishna, how do we dedicate our lives towards serving Krishna. In this, we opened 108 temples in the Western world and brought so many Western elephants, right, who are our spiritual masters, disciples of Prabhupada, because of whom we are all practicing Krishna consciousness, we are all studying Bhagavad Gita, we are all chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So our sincere gratitude to His Divine Grace, Avaicharanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, our preeminent eternal Siksha Guru for all time to come. That's why we are going to study Srila Prabhupada's books at least for the next 10,000 years. These are the law books of the world, right? That's what it is mentioned. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, my Senapati Bhakta will come and take this Krishna consciousness movement to the Western world. And we all know. And that Senapati Bhakta is Srila Prabhupada himself. And today is the day when Prabhupada actually went to the Western world, to the United States, not in a flight, not in a helicopter, not in a jet, but rather in a cargo ship. For about close to more than a month, Prabhupada was there in that cargo ship. He had for his solas, he did not have anything, he did not know anybody. He only had the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, few copies. He had Chaitanya Charitamrita with him. And he said, and he suffered 2 heart attacks. And he said, if the 3rd heart attack were to come, I would not survive. And we also see so many pictures in Google also, that Prabhupada is saying Krishna maneuvered the cargo ship in such a way that the waves were all very, very, they were not showing their true colors. Otherwise, I would not have survived. So in this way, Prabhupada left for the United States. Prabhupada went to the Western world so that we all could practice Krishna consciousness nicely, sitting in the comforts of our home, in the association of devotees, having this international study for Krishna consciousness. So much of facilities Prabhupada gave us. And Prabhupada himself sacrificed his entire life to give us Krishna consciousness, right? He went to the Western world. He brought the white elephants, as he calls, in Prabhupada Lilamrita, right? Those white elephants, disciples of Prabhupada, have actually caused a little bit of transformation, whatever we have in our life now, whatever little we are able to practice Krishna consciousness, we owe it to Srila Prabhupada and his wonderful disciples, isn't it? Otherwise, what we will be doing? We don't know what we've been doing. We must have wasted our time and human form of life. But all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to all of the wonderful disciples of Prabhupada who are expanding the movement. Right? Generally, whenever an acharya leaves the world, like for example, the founder of a particular institution leaves the world, then there is a significant reduction in the operations of that particular institution. But because the disciples of Srila Prabhupada are so surrendered to Srila Prabhupada and are furthering Srila Prabhupada's mission with so much rigor, that the Krishna consciousness movement is flourishing in geometrical proportion, right? It's growing rapidly, right? So if we also serve the instructions of our spiritual master and follow the teachings of Srila Prabhupada as is given in the books, then we can also contribute towards this wonderful mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can also become small soldiers in the army in which Srila Prabhupada is a Senapati Bhakta. What wonderful opportunity, isn't it? Krishna consciousness will spread throughout the world. Whether we want to play a part in that or not is up to us, right? On that note, let's continue a study of Bhagavad Gita as it is. We want to continue from 15.12. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So yesterday we saw in 15.11 how Krishna himself says, who is the best of the yogis? Krishna says in 6.47 itself, he declares the best yogi is the one who is engaging in bhakti yoga, right? Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam sami yukta tamo mataha. Right? Such a person is my friend. I am always in him and he is always in me. Right? The best of the yogis. Yoginam api sarvesham. Sarvesham means topmost. Madgaten antaratmana, who always thinks of me. That person, that yogi who always thinks of me within his heart. Madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam, with faith, engages in my devotional service. Such a person is the greatest of all yogis. Right? And 15.11, Prabhupada actually talks about different yogis. There may be different yogis, karma yogis, jnana yogis, but the highest of all of them is bhakti yogis, those who are engaged in pure devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna. Only they can understand what is happening, why it is happening, right? And only, yesterday we were discussing how only the bhakti yogis, they got this assurance from Krishna, neha vikramanashosti pratyavayona vidyate swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato vayat, right? Only bhakti yogis can continue from where they left off in their previous life. Right? All the other kind of yogis, karma yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogi, etc. They may develop a lot of siddhis. They may become greater than the greatest, smaller than the smallest, produce many coins and powders, and solve many problems of this material world for many people. But their advancement or their progress will not continue life after life. Right? The next life, they will not be born with all of the yoga siddhis. They may be inclined towards yoga because of their past life impressions. But only in Bhakti Yoga, Krishna promises there is no loss or diminution on this path. If we've completed 51%, we'll continue from 52%. We'll be born in the family of Vaishnavas. will continue the process of devotional service right from childhood. So that is the advantage of practicing Bhakti Yoga, that we continue life after life from where we left off until we please Guru and Gauranga, until we perfect our life and go back home, back to Godhead. All right, let's move forward. Text number 15.12. Devotees can raise your hands. Okay, Karpagavali Mataji, please go ahead. Text number 15, chapter number 15, text number 12.
Thank you, Mataji. Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Yet Aditya Gatam Tejo Jagat Pasati Kilam Yak Chandramasi Yak Charnauta Tejo Vidhi Mamakam. Yet translation put by Prabhupada Kijay. Yet that which Aditya Gadam in the sunshine, Tejaha, splendor, Jagat, the whole world, Pasyati illuminates. Agilam Vasayati illuminates. Agilam entirely. Yet that which Chandramasi in the moon. Yet that which also Agnav in fire. That Tejaha splendor, Vidhi understand, Mamakam from me. Translation: the splendor of the sun which dissipates the darkness of this whole world comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. Purport: the unintelligent cannot understand how things are taking place, but one can begin to be established in knowledge by understanding what the God explains here. Everyone sees the sun, moon, fire, and electricity. One should simply try to understand that the splendor of the sun and the splendor of the moon, the splendor of the electricity or fire are coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In such a conception of life, the beginning of Krishna consciousness, lies a great deal of advancement for the conditioned soul in this material world. The living entities are essentially the parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and He is giving here with the hint how they can come back to Godhead, back to home. From this verse, we can understand that the sun is illuminating the whole solar system. There are different universes and solar systems, and there are different suns, moons, and planets also. But in each universe, there is only one sun, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.21. The moon is one of the stars. Nakshatram Agam Sasi.
Nakshatranam Aham Shashi.
Nakshatranam Aham Sasi. Sunlight is due to the spiritual effulgence of the spiritual sky of the Supreme Lord. With the rise of the sun, the activities of human beings are set up. They set fire to prepare the foodstuff. They set fire to start the factories, etc. So many things are done with the help of fire. Therefore, sunrise, fire, and moonlight are so pleasing to the living entities. Without their help, no living entity can live. So if one can understand that the light and splendor of the sun, moon, and fire are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, then one's Krishna conscious will become. By the moonshine, all the vegetables are nourished. The moonshine is so pleasing that people can easily understand that they are living by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Without His mercy, there cannot be sun. Without His mercy, there cannot be moon. And without His mercy, there cannot be fire. Without the help of sun, moon, and fire, no one can live. These are some thoughts to provoke Krishna consciousness in the conditioned soul. Thank you, Mataji. Dandatna.
Thank you. So, in this verse, previously also Krishna is mentioned in several places, chapter 7, chapter 8, right, where Krishna has given us hints of how He is, the sun and the moon are His eyes, right? Krishna has told us how living in this material world, looking at the various things, right? I am the taste of water. I am the Om syllable in the chanting of the mantras. So in this way, Krishna has given so many ways for us to remember Him, even being in this material world, right? And then He says, if you come back to the spiritual world, you don't need a sun, you don't need moon, you don't need electricity. Why? Natat bhashyate shuryo, natat bhashyate shuryo, you don't need sun. Na shashanko, na moon, you don't need the moon. Na pavakaha, you don't need electricity, right? Because all of the splendor that is there in the spiritual world comes out of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then yet in this material world, Krishna Himself, Krishna's eyes are represented by the sun and the moon. And the moon provides nourishment to the vegetables that we consume, that gives us energy. And then the sun gives us the light and the heat. right? Because without which we cannot even see ourselves, right? Prabhupada mentions in the Ishopanishad, one of the purports, Prabhupada mentions how we cannot even see our own hands without the sunshine, right? If there is a dark room, we don't know where we are, what we are doing, what our, we cannot even have a look at our body parts. Forget about doing anything using them, right? We will not even know what we are doing, where we are. So we owe it to the sun and the moon for all the nourishment and the activities that we do, even in this material world. So without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, without the mercy of the Supreme Lord, nothing, not even can something move, right? They say not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, right? So the whole world is illuminated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the sun or the moon or the fire or the electricity. So in this way, whatever we see, right, if we remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be the source of that, then automatically our life will be tuned into always remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna. And that is the perfection of living. And that living, whatever we are, that our life is tested at the time of death. If you've lived our life always remembering Krishna, at the time of death, there will be no difficulty in remembering Krishna. But if we continue to engage in sense gratificatory propensities, that is what we will remember even at the time of death. So that is why there is a very important correlation. However we live our life, that only it will play as a flashback in front of our eyes, and that is what we'll remember even at the time of death. Hence, we should be very careful how we are spending our time. What are we thinking about as we are living? All right. Sridhar Prabhu, please go ahead. 15.13.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Kama Vishya cha Bhutani Tarayam Maho Jasa Tojasa Pushnami Chaudisha Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmagaha. Hare Krishna. Synonymous. Kam, the planet. Avishya, entering. Cha, also. Bhutani, the living entities. Dharayami, sustain. Aham, I. Ojasa, by my energy. Pushnami, I am nourishing. Cha, and. Anushya, the vegetables. Sarva, all. So, Soma, the moon. Bhutva, becoming. Rasa, Rasatmaga, supplying the juice. Translation by Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. I enter into the each planet and my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Purport. It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of Lord. The Lord enters into the energy atom. Every planet and every living beings that is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. It is said that one planetary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enter into the planet, the universe, the living entity, and even into the atom. So, due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water. But when the living spark out of this body and the body is dead, the body is sink. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like a straw and other things. But as soon as the man is dead, he at once sinks in the water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His energy is sustained each planet just like a handful of dust. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of the dust falling. But if one throws into the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the fist of universal form of the Supreme Lord by his strength and energy. All moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said that Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planet is steadily moving. Where it is not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in the air and perish. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead that the moon nourishes all vegetables. Due to this moon's influence, the vegetable become delicious. Without the moonshine, the vegetable can neither grow nor taste excellent. human society is working, living comfortably and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. This word Rasamatmaka is very significant. Everything become the planetable by the energy, by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Thank you. Mayatatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matstani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitah. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Mayatatam idam sarvam. Everything is situated in the orbit and situated in their positions only because of me. Right? Matstani sarva bhutani. Everything is situated on me. I am the pivot around which all of these various material universes, the planets, the solar system, everything is functioning around my direction. Right? Matstani sarva bhutani na chaham teshu avastitah. Everything is situated in me, but I am not directly controlling anything. Right? Krishna, that's why it is said, Ishwapanishad also says that Krishna is eternally present in Goloka Vrindavan Dham. At the same time, he is also present as the three Vishnus, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and Karanakashayi Vishnu. He also exists in the material world through his expansions, and at the same time, as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is also situated in our heart as Paramatma. But the Lord is eternally situated in the spiritual world. How is it possible? This is the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord. If we were to understand the Lord very easily, then how can he be the Supreme Lord? If we are able to understand the Lord completely well, what the Lord will do, when he will do, then we become almost equal to him. We are able to understand him completely. But the Lord is always great and we are insignificant, part and parcel of the Lord. We cannot understand the glory of the Lord. Right? As we are speaking the glories of the Lord, even Ananta Shesh is saying, yesterday was Balaram's appearance day, and Balaram expands himself into Ananta Shesh to serve the Lord, and he is saying Ananta means unlimited. With his unlimited mouths, I cannot glorify adequately the Supreme Lord. As we are speaking, the Lord must be performing his pastimes. His glories are increasing every second, according to the various pastimes he is performing. So nobody can adequately understand or glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Maya adhyakshena prakriti. Right? Prakriti or the material nature is acting under my control, is acting under my direction, Krishna says. Maya adhyakshena. Adhyakshena means leader, controller of prakriti. Maya means I. Krishna is saying, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. Under my direction, this world is created and annihilated again and again and again. Right? And all happens under my direction. That's what Krishna says. But yet, Krishna says, I'm not really sitting and monitoring this, the way he's just set up the law, right? Just like the CEO of the company. He's in charge of everything that's happening in the company. Everything happens according to his direction. But he's kept the managing director. He's appointed the heads of the various departments, purchase department, sales department, finance department, like that. He has made various, the sun god, the moon god, to nourish the vegetables, to provide light and heat. Like that, the affairs of the material universe are carried on without his immediate intervention or supervision. Everything is carried out under the umbrella of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet the Lord is independent and does not get into the day-to-day activities, just like a CEO does not get into the day-to-day activities of the organization, but all the major decisions, the lawmaker, the law of the company is all given by the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO, right? The Chief Controller, the Chief Enjoyer, and the Chief owner of everything, right? Like that, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a complete control. We are also controllers, but the chief controller, the chief of all the controllers, the chief enjoyer of all the minute enjoyers. We all think we are enjoying, right? When we make some nice, gulab jamun offer to the Lord and we think we are the enjoyers, right? But we are also minute enjoyers, right? But the Lord is infinite enjoyer, the chief enjoyer among all enjoyers. Right? And the chief owner, right? I may think, okay, I possess this speaker, I possess this laptop, I possess this medicine wala bottle, whatever it is. But I may be temporarily, I may be the custodian of all of this, right? Anytime I know these can be taken away from me, right? So it is foolish. It is foolishness on my part to think that all these things belong to me, right? I should understand the chief owner is the Supreme Lord. He has delegated it to me. Under my care, these things, which I have to take care and use it in the service of the Lord, right? If that is a consciousness, then that is the right frame of mind, that Krishna is the chief owner, Krishna is the chief enjoyer, Krishna is the chief controller. I am minute controller, minute enjoyer, minute owner or the caretaker of all these things. And my duty is to engage everything in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the proper consciousness in which we utilize those things provided by the Lord, but we utilize it in the service of the Lord. And that is the right way to utilize things of this material world or anywhere for that reason. That is the way we need to look at things. This belongs to the Lord. It is now under my care. How can I engage these things? How can I engage myself, my body parts, right? All the, the 5 working senses, the 5 knowledge acquiring senses, the body that's made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Everything is provided by the Lord. And hence it is my duty to engage everything in the service of the Lord. All right, let's move ahead. Okay, 15.14. Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. Sindhu Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Mataji.
Local 14, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Pranam. Hari bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayuktah Pachami Annam Chaturvidam. Synonyms. Aham, I, Vaishvanaraha, my planetary portion as a digesting fire, Bhutva, becoming, Praninam, of all living entities, Deham, in the bodies, Ashritaha, situated, Prana, the outgoing air, Apana, the downgoing air, Samayuktaha, keeping in balance, Pachami, I digest, Annam, foodstuff, Chaturvidam, the 4 kinds. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff. Purport. According to Ayurvedic Shastra, we understand that there is a fire in the stomach which digests all foods in there. When the fire is not blazing, there is no hunger. And when the fire is in order, we become hungry. Sometimes when the fire is not going nicely, treatment is required. In any case, this fire is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedic mantras, Brihat Aranyaka Upanishad 5.9.1 also confirm that the Supreme Lord of Brahman is situated in the form of fire within the stomach and is digesting all kinds of foodstuff. I am Agnir Vaishvanaro Yo Yam Antaha Purushe Enedam Annam Pachyate. Therefore, since he is helping the digestion of all kinds of foodstuff, the living entity is not independent in the eating process. Unless the Supreme Lord helps him in digesting, there is no possibility of eating. He thus produces and digests foodstuff, and by his grace, we are enjoying life. In the Vedanta Sutra 1.2.27, it is also confirmed. Sabdha Divyontaha Pratishtanacha. The Lord is situated within sound and within the body, within the air, and even within the stomach as a digestive force. There are 4 kinds of foodstuff. Some are swallowed, some are chewed, some are licked up, and some are sucked. And he is a digestive force for all of them. Hare Krishna.
Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasado Swadhanna Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangan Kritvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadhaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada, right? The 4th verse of Guru Ashtakam that we sing every day in the morning. We're talking about the 4 kinds of footsteps. What are those 4 kinds of footsteps? That which is licked, sucked, swallowed, and chewed, right? So we are enjoying all of these things. Yesterday, even I made, and all of us would have made nice, wonderful foodstuffs for offering to Lord Balaram, right? And we would have, some of us made, what is that? Sweet rice. Some of us made, whatever is, dosa or samosa or kachori or whatever, right? Balaram, what does he like? We made all of those things. We offered it to Balaram. And then we honored nice Krishna Prasadam, right? In order for that Prasadam to get digested, right? We all enjoyed the wonderful Krishna Prasadam, right? Balaram's mercy that came to us as Prasadam. We honored it very nicely. But for that Prasadam to get digested also, we need the mercy of the Lord. First of all, we need the mercy of the Lord to get the Prasadam also. And to enjoy the Prasadam also, we need to have that hunger. Which means whatever we've eaten previously, that should get digested. Only then we will feel the hunger. Otherwise, there may be nice, palatable prasadam in front of us, but we will not be able to eat. Right? We've all experienced it. When we have constipation, when we have diarrhea, or when we have fever, or when we are not healthy, we can, in spite of so many wonderful palatable prasadam in front of us, we will not want to eat, right? Because the body is not capable of digestion. So for the body or the stomach to digest the foodstuff also is not independently done by the living entity. For that also we need the Vaishvonara. Vaishvonara means a digestive fire that is situated in the stomach. That is also provided, that is also helped by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we cannot enjoy independently, we cannot eat independently, we cannot do anything independently. Although we think that I eat, I enjoy, but for everything, only 2% or 3% is voluntary action, right? We have to just simply, put our hand in prasadam, put it in the mouth. That is only what we do voluntarily. I want to do it because I want to eat. After that, we don't know what happens inside the body, right? Next day morning, again we are feeling hungry. Again, the Lord provides us prasadam. Again, the Lord helps us to digest it. Again, the next day, like simply day in and day out, we are simply taking the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are taking the help of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and sometimes we are so neglectful that we don't even offer our gratitude to the Lord, right? That's what Mahaprasade Govinde means, right? This body is a network of all the senses which are all running in each direction. I want to enjoy this. The tongue is running in my direction. The ears are running in my direction. Nose is running in my direction. Eyes are running in my direction, right? And the topmost leader, right? The chief enjoyer, the chief controller, like that. The chief amongst all of the senses that is totally uncontrollable is the tongue. The tongue, if you control the tongue, then all the other, what is that? Vacho vegam, manasukrodham, jivva vegam, udar upashta vegam. It means jivva or the tongue, if it is controlled, then the udara and upashta, that means the belly and the genitals are automatically controlled, right? And for controlling the jiva, what is it that we have to do? We have to honor only Krishna Prasadam. The tongue has two functions. One function is to vibrate, that is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Another function of the tongue is to honor nice Krishna Prasadam, right? In this way, when we are simply honoring Krishna Prasadam and we are simply chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then everything will go on properly. All of the other senses also get controlled. If we will be able to sleep well at the right time, we will be able to wake up in 6 hours, we'll be able to chant Hare Krishna in the morning. In that way, the Brahmamurta program also will go on very well, right? In this way, Krishna also says, right? One who controls the eating, sleeping, mating, and the defending. These 4 processes are regulated. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmashu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. If you are controlled in our eating, in our sleeping, in our work, in our recreation, then automatically our life can be molded in such a way that we can always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Engage 24 hours in devotional service. Like His Grace Radhesham Prabhu says, even while sleeping, we sleep with the consciousness that I am going to rest now. So tomorrow morning I can wake up and chant Hare Krishna very nicely with the pleasure of the Lord. In that way, the 6 hours of sleep also becomes a service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is what we want to do. We want to make our 24 hours, whatever we do, we want to dedicate it. We want to be grateful to the Lord for helping us to even fulfill our desire to serve the Lord, right? If not for the Lord's mercy, even if we desire to serve the Lord, we will not be able to serve, right? Maybe I want to speak the glories of the Lord, but no voice is coming out of my throat. How will I even speak, right? If we have the desire, the Lord will fulfill our desire by enabling us, by empowering us to speak about Him, to hear about Him, right? So in this way, we need to express our gratitude. And today's the day when Srila Prabhupada went to the US. We need to be so grateful to Prabhupada that he has shown us the way, the way of life for humans. Otherwise, we would also lived our lives like animals, and we would have clearly marked our next destination, like the evolution process, right? And we would have again gone Jalaja Navalakshani, right? On the 8.4 million species of life, we got this human form of life. We need to be grateful to Prabhupada and all of our Vaishnava Acharyas that we at least know what we are supposed to do as human beings. Otherwise, we will live our life like animals, and then we'll get degraded into an animal form of life, right? So like that. All right. So this is a very, very important verse, 15.15. This is the verse we will memorize if we do not know it already, and we will contemplate and meditate on this verse. Very beautiful verse, 15.15. Who will read? Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत समृतिर्ज्ञानं पोहनं च वेदैष सर्वैरहमि वेदांत कृद्वेद विदेव चाहं. Synonyms: सर्वस्य, of all living beings, ka and aham, I, hridhi, in the heart, sannivisht, situated, mata, from me, samriti, remembrance, jnanam, knowledge, apoham, apohanam, forgetfulness, ka and videh, by the Vedas, ka also,
Cha.
sar,
CA is cha also.
also, sarva, all, aham, I am, Iva, certainly, Vedah, knowledgeable, knowable, Vedant Krut, the compiler of the Vedanta, Vedvit, the knower of the Vedas, Iva, certainly, Cha, and Aham, I. Translation and purport by Shri Prabhupada Ji, Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Purport: the Supreme Lord is situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and it is from him that all activities are initiated. The living entity forgets everything of his past life, but he has to act according to the direction of the Lord, who is witness to all his work. Therefore, he begins his work according to his past deeds. Required knowledge is applied to him, and remembrance is given to him, and he forgets also about his past life. Thus, the Lord is not only all pervading, he is also localized in every individual heart. He awards the different curative results. He is worshipable not only as the impersonal Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the localized Paramatma, but as the form of the incarnation of the Vedas as well. The Vedas give the right direction to people so that they can properly mold their lives and come back to Godhead, back to home. The Vedas offer knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and Krishna in his incarnation as Vyasdeva is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. The commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Vyasdeva in the Srimad Bhagavatam gives the real understanding of Vedanta Sutra. The Supreme Lord is so full that for the deliverance of the conditioned soul, he is the supplier and digester of foodstuff, the witness of his activity, and the giver of knowledge in the form of Vedas and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Krishna, the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita, is worshipable by the conditioned soul. Thus, God is all good, God is all merciful. Antah Anta Parvistaha Sasta Jananam. The living entity forgets as soon as he quits the present body, but he begins his work again, initiated by the Supreme Lord. Although he forgets, the Lord gives him the intelligence to renew his work where he ended his last life. So, not only does a living entity enjoy or suffer in the world according to the dictation from the Supreme Lord situated locally in the heart, but he receives the opportunity to understand the Vedas from him. If one is serious about understanding the Vedic knowledge, then Krishna gives the required intelligence. Why does he present the Vedic knowledge for understanding? Because a living entity individually needs to understand Krishna. Vedic literature confirms this. Yo sau sarvair vedair gijgiyate. In all Vedic literature, beginning from the four Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, and the Upanishads and Puranas, the glories of Supreme Lord are celebrated by performance of Vedic rituals, discussion of the Vedic philosophy, and worship of the Lord in devotional service. He is attained. Therefore, the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. The Vedas give the direction by which to understand Krishna and the process of realizing Him. The ultimate goal is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedanta Sutra 1.1.4 confirms this in the following words: Tattu Samanvaya. One can attain perfection in 3 stages by understanding Vedic literature. One can understand his relationship with his Godhead. By performing the different processes, one can approach him, and at the end, one can attain supreme goal, who is no other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this verse, the purpose of Vedas, the understanding of the Vedas, and the goal of the Vedas are clearly defined. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. I am situated in everyone's heart. Matha Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. I give intelligence, I give knowledge. I also, Smriti means memory, remembrance. Jnanam means knowledge. Apohanam means forgetfulness. Vedaischa Sarvair Ahameva Vedya. From all the Vedas, I am to be known. That's what Krishna is saying. Vedaischa Sarvair Ahameva Vedyo. Vedanta Krit. Veda Vidyeva Chaham, right? So I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am to be known from all of this Vedic study. Right? Somebody may read the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, memorize all the verses. But if they don't understand Krishna at the end of their study of the Bhagavad Gita, it is Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. Then there is useless endeavor, waste of time. Right? Because that is only going to add to his false ego. I can study the Bhagavad Gita. I know the Bhagavatam. I know all the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Right? But that's not the goal. That's not the goal of studying of Vedas. From the study of the Vedas, we need to understand 3 important things. One is Sambandha Gyan. Who am I? Who's the Lord? Right? Abhideya Gyan. Having understood that I am the servant of the Lord, what is the process that I need to follow to actually work in a way that's pleasing to Guru and Gauranga? So what is that way? The Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. And then the final goal of life is to develop love for Krishna. That is Krishna Prema. So the Sambandha, this Abhideya and the Prayojana, which is Krishna Prema, this is what we need to understand by the study of the scriptures. Right? When we study Bhagavatam, in the 8th canto, Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumaram Acharet Prajna. You should not wait till old age to start studying the scriptures. Right? When we are not even capable of performing material duties, how will we perform our Sanatana Dharma? When our Swadharma itself will not be performed properly, we cannot hear properly, we cannot speak properly, our teeth is falling down, we cannot get up on our own, we can't walk on our own, we need a walking stick, this, that. When we can't do our day-to-day Swadharma activities properly, how are we thinking that we can do our Sanatana Dharma activities properly? Right? When we are healthy, when we are well nourished, when we are at the best of our health, we are not able to sit down and chant Hare Krishna. How do we ever think that when we cannot even sit properly, even for 10-15 minutes, in that state, how will I think that I can sit down and chant Hare Krishna? So that is our foolishness, right? So Vedaischa Sarve Rahameva Vedyo. If our study of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, chanting Hare Krishna, etc., 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 if our intent is not to know Krishna, then it is futile. Of course, the process itself is pure and it will purify us. But what should be our intention as we perform these activities? The intention should be to always remember Krishna, to never forget Krishna, to serve Krishna, to satisfy Krishna, and to please Krishna. Then our endeavor itself will be successful. Then our goal will be met, which is to serve Krishna, which is to love Krishna, which is to attain love for Krishna, which is Krishna Prema. Right? So, Shobha Mataji, you can share the verse and the translation. Okay, that will be our verse for memorization and contemplation for today. All right, let's move ahead. 15.16. This will be the last verse for today. Mamoni Moni Day, Mataji. Okay, you can switch on your camera also. Let's have your darshan also.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Monimala Mataji.
Monimala.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, yes.
I will, Mataji, I will change it very soon. Actually,
All
it's
right,
my
no
old
problem.
new phone, Mataji.
All right, all right. Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
Do imo purusho loke sharo cha akshara evo cha sharo sarvani bhutani kutasto akshara uchyate. Though two imo in this purusho living entities loke in the world kasha fallible cha and akshara infallible eva certainly cha and shara the fallible sarvani all bhutani living entities skutastha in oneness akshara infallible uchyate is said. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every entity is called infallible. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As already explained, the Lord in his incarnation as Vasudeva complied the Vedanta Sutra. Here, the Vedanta Sutra. Here, the Lord is giving, in summary, the contents of the Vedanta Sutra. He says that the living entities who are innumerable can be divided into two classes, the fallible and infallible. The living entities are eternally separated parts and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta. And the Sanskrit words given here, Sarvani Bhutani, mean that they are fallible. Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. Oneness does not mean that they have no individuality and that there is no disunity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of the creation. Of course, in the spiritual world, there is no such thing as creation. But since the Supreme Personality of Godhead has stated in the Vedanta Sutra that he is the source of all emanations, that conception is explained. According to the statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krsna, there are two classes of men. The Vedas give evidence of this, so there is no doubt about it. The living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and five senses have their material bodies, which are changing as long as the living entities are conditioned. Once body changes due to contact with matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing. But in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, there is no change. In the material world, the living entity undergoes 6 changes: birth, growth, duration, reproduction, then dwindling and vanishing. These are the changes of the material body. But in the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age. There is no birth. There is no death. They are all exist in oneness. It is more clearly explained as Sarvani Bhutani, any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being, Brahma, who Brahma down to a small ant is changing its body. Therefore, they are all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you. So, very wonderful, isn't it? So, here, Lord Sri Krishna is talking about Ekatvam, right? In Ishopanishad also, Ekatvam Anupashyati comes. What is this Ekatvam? This Ekatvam does not mean that we are merging with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Ekatvam means oneness in interest. What is the interest of the Lord? Our interest is also the same. The Lord wants His glories to be spread in every town and village. And our interest is also to spread the glories of the Lord in every town and village. as much as our capacity, right? So in this way, this ekatvam is oneness in purpose, oneness in interest, oneness in terms of having the same objective or the goal as that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oneness in interest, not oneness in terms of merging with the Brahman. That's not the oneness that's mentioned here, right? Even Ishopnisha also, Prabhupada explains very, very wonderfully that Krishna says, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone, manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajit maam namaskuru. Krishna says, become my devotee, offer your obeisances unto me. What is that? Manmana bhava madbhakto, become my devotee. Maam anusmara, remember me always. Maam namaskuru, offer your obeisances to me. And we are also saying the same thing. Become the devotee of Krishna, offer obeisances to Krishna, worship Krishna, right? So we are one in terms of our thinking, in terms of our feeling, and in terms of our willing, right? The Lord wants us to serve Him, and we are also preaching the same message. We are saying everybody should serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? These people who are eternally engaged in the service of the Lord, they are called Akshara. That means they are eternally liberated. That means they are always situated in the constitutional position of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas we who are fallen down to this material world, we are Shara. Shara means we are fallen down. That means we have decided to enjoy independently, and hence we have been given this world called the material world to try to enjoy, and in this way become frustrated. But when we understand the purpose, which is oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is oneness in interest, oneness in purpose, oneness in terms of understanding the mission of the Lord and contributing towards that mission of the Lord, that is the goal of a living entity. And when we attain that goal, then we will no longer fall down to this material world, right? From Kshara we become Akshara. Then Yad Gatvan Nivartante Tadama Paramam Mama. Krishna says, one who gets back to my spiritual world will not again go to the material world. So we have two kinds of living beings, Kshara and Akshara. Akshara, they never fall down because you always want to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kshara fall down, and by the association of devotees, by the grace of Guru Gauranga, all the Vaishnavas and bona fide Guru coming, bona fide Parampara, the Ksharas also perfect their lives and go back home, back to Godhead. Right? In this way, when they perfect their lives, then they also become Parshadas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means they also become Raga Nuga Bhaktas. Currently, we are Sadhaka Bhaktas because we don't have love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, when our heart gets purified, we will become Raga Nuga Bhaktas. That means we'll follow in the footsteps of the Raga Atmika Bhaktas like Yashoda Maya, Srimati Radharani, the various Gopa friends, Sri Dhama, Madhu Mangal, and all of these Sakhas or Vrindavan Vasis, right? And in this way, our desire is always to serve the purpose of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to serve for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of God. And in this way, we can also go back home, back to Goloka Vrindavan and serve the Lord, right? We can never become Ragatmika Bhaktas, but we can definitely become Raga Anuga Bhaktas. Following in the footsteps of the Ragatmika Bhaktas, we will also be eternally situated in terms of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So with this, we will end. Bhashma Mataji, next session, we will start with you. So, we've completed until 15.16. So tomorrow we will, next Monday, we will do 17, 18, 19, and 20. There are only 20 verses in this chapter. So 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita we will complete next Monday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will go ahead now with the study of Krishna book. As we're preparing our consciousness for Shri Krishna Janmashtami and Prabhupada Vyasa Puja. Actually, this entire month we are having so many celebrations of Prabhupada, right? We have Prabhupada taking sannyas, we have Prabhupada Vyasa Puja also coming up. So in this way, and we had the recent past, we had ISKCON Incorporation Day. Right? So all of these are opportunities for us to express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. The best way we can express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada is by following the instructions of Prabhupada. That means chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, following the ABCD square principle. Then the association of devotees, we study Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, chant Hare Krishna, engage in deity worship, honor only Krishna Prasadam. And in this way, when we please Prabhupada, we will please all of the Vaishnava Acharyas, and then we will please Guru Gauranga, we will please Radha Krishna. And that's the goal of life. So all of you all can switch on your cameras quickly. We will do Harinam Sankirtan, and then we will meet tomorrow morning for our Brahma Murta chanting session. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Asatya Deshata Daya Sri Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gaur Nitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jaya Balodeva Jaya Subhadra Ma Jaya Sudarshana Jai Bala Gopal Jaya Rukmini Vithal Jai Guruvayurappa Jai Radha Giridhari Jai Radha Shyam Sundar Jai Radha Madhav Jai Radha Krishna Jaya Prahlad Singha Jai Panchatattva Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jai Sadgoswami Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol प्रभुपाद श्री गुरुदेव की जय कलियुग हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल Hare Krishna. So I'm able to see all the wonderful devotees giving darshan. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Moshmi Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Sridhar Prabhu, Harjeet Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, Karpagavalli Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Monimala Mataji, Shubhangi Mataji. Thank you all very much for joining in. So it's your servant's birthday tomorrow, so I'm not very sure. I'll not be able to go for Mangalarti to the temple because my daughter has school, but I'm not sure of the rest of the day program. I may go to the temple tomorrow. So I'm not very sure of the timings. You know, you all been very tolerant all this while. So tomorrow also I will, I mentioned in the group what time we'll have the session. We may have it at the normal time or we may have it late in the night, say 8 o'clock or something like that. I'm not very sure. So kindly keep me in your prayers. Kindly bless me so that I may be a little instrument in the hands of Guru and Gauranga. And in this way, I can serve all of you. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Kaliga Vidit Bhavna Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, all glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glory to the assembled Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Moshmi Mataji, we will start our session tomorrow with you. Yeah. Thank you. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Thank you all very much. Meet you all tomorrow morning.